Welcome to the Crimeycade, episode 15. I am the Mad Conservative Crime Fighter, Stephen Lucas, former Gamer of the Year, 1991 Nintendo Canvas Challenge National Champion. Today, I have a very special guest. We haven't seen him in a while. And for those who don't know who this gentleman is, I think we should give him a proper introduction. Here we go.
Oh, hey! Didn't see you there. Here at 8-Bit Brody, we've got all your interviews, conventions, all your gaming-related needs. Why haven't you subscribed yet? Check out these sick videos.
Jared, how does it feel to be the most miserable man on YouTube?
Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Twitter. I've got a Patreon. Why haven't you subscribed? Here at 8-Bit Brody, even other YouTubers like me. Check out these testimonials.
Hey, what's up? DJ here, and we got something to say about 8-Bit Brody's channel. It's garbage.
I wipe my ass with 8-Bit Brody. 8-Bitch Brody, more like it.
8-Bit Brody show is a really good show.
What's going on, guys? Rich of Review Tech USA here, and I'm warning you now, do not subscribe to 8-Bit Brody. Please, he's a grade A douche.
Was it Brady? What was his name?
8-Bit Brody.
Who is this guy? Really?
He's the guy with the unfortunate hair.
The guy with the unfortunate hair. Okay.
Hey, it's me, Frank GFC. Don't trust 8-Bit Brody's lies. He just wants to use you for capital gain.
This is Irate Gamer saying thanks for all the many years of comedy and good luck on your future endeavors.
Why haven't you subscribed? Come on down.
And there it is. Welcoming in the personality formerly known as 8-Bit Brody. Brody Hal, welcome to the Crimeycade. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. How are you doing? What's your cat's name?
So I have two cats, Angel and Cody. Cody is probably going to crash the stream. Oh yeah, you see him back there. Yes, yeah. He's crashed my stream multiple times and took the camera down and knocked things over and just raises a ruckus. Well, what do you expect? He's a ginger.
Ah, that's what happens.
So, before we get into what's been happening with Brody lately, can you, for those who are not familiar with you and your channel, describe the character 8-Bit Brody?
Oh man, how would you describe him in 7 words or less?
Gaming's used car salesman, comedian. I'm up to 6 words. I need one more.
Or less. You can.
Yeah.
You can
Gaming's used car salesman and comedian. There you go.
All right. I think you've said everything there is to say. You got it.
Well, I've heard you describe it in a bit more detail. You've had a bit of persona, you act as a used car salesman, but you're always down on yourself and you do these crazy antics, but it's like you're always questioning why you're doing it. Is it attracting an audience, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole idea with the character was sort of poking fun at the whole online sphere. I'm not a very big fan of a lot of like the internet personas, and I kind of wanted to do my take on what if one of those personas existed, but they failed every step of the way, and they knew they were exploiting people but didn't do anything about it, and they were self-aware in all of their worst attributes. That was sort of the That was sort of the idea with the character.
Now, I guess what is the origins of the persona? How did you come up with this character?
I used to have a business setting up at conventions, buying and selling retro games, and we would see, me and my business partner and my friends that would come with us, we would see these personas walking around filming, doing their bits, and we all kind of started joking about it amongst ourselves, and I started kind of developing this character as a joke, as like an inside joke with us. And then eventually someone said, "Hey man, maybe we should start filming this, because you're doing all of this anyway. You're doing the bit no matter what. We may as well just put it online." And so we kind of started uploading. I started uploading like review videos in that character, and enough people liked it that I said, "Fine, I'll keep going, I guess." And then I did it for 10 years.
You did it for 10 years. Well, I'm not quite ready to go to what made you decide to call it quits. Well, maybe I should.
That's up to you. We can go whatever direction you want to go.
So I kind of advertised this as kind of the exit interview of sorts, because you did decide after 10 years it was time to retire the character. What made you decide it was time to get out of performing the 8-bit character?
After the first couple of years of doing just silly reviews here and there, when I decided to start doing more in-person live action stuff, I kind of had a trajectory in mind from the beginning. I wrote out like a treatment of what I wanted the character's journey to be. I didn't expect it to take as long as it did, because I told myself I would have like a rise to fame, and then a peak, and then a fall. People just kept watching, and so it made that fall a little bit harder to reach. But from the beginning, I always knew I would end the character. And given the climate of the YouTube sphere, having actually met a lot of those bigger names and the bigger personas, it made me realize what an unhealthy environment it was.
Yeah, I can. I fully agree with that belief there.
I think that the YouTube sphere is full of people that will step on and exploit each other for their own gain. I think people don't care what they do to their viewers, what they do to their fans. It all feels a lot like high school drama, and I don't mean putting on the Music Man. I mean it feels like gossipy. It was upsetting, and I always felt like this outside observer that was somehow welcomed in, despite the fact that I was, satirizing the people that were welcoming me. But as I watched the sphere get more and more volatile, I started to step away from it, and I started to be more experimental with my videos, and thankfully that wasn't received well. So I said, perfect, that's my out.
I know the last video you did was an hour kind of a cinema movie. I can't talk. Cinematic, where you're basically crossing over the entire country from the East Coast to the West Coast, making stops in St. Louis, the Grand Canyon, ended up in California. I don't know where else you stopped on the way. I assume if you're going from St. Louis, you went through, Colorado and Nebraska. maybe not Nebraska.
Yeah, I
Kansas.
did a bit of filming in Nebraska, some in Iowa, Colorado, a little bit in Utah, Nevada, California. I had a whole bit filmed in Las Vegas that I ended up cutting from everything because I just didn't like how it turned out. There's about 7 hours of cut content from that final video. I was planning on it being about 2 hours long, but I felt like it was getting in the way of the story, and so I trimmed it.
Yeah, those longer videos are harder to edit, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like editing a bunch of clips together. I'm still waiting on a documentary to come out that I'm in. They got several hundred hours of footage. Boy, you're disappearing.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering what it's considering me and what it's considering my surroundings.
Although I see all that spaghetti in the background, I feel like I want some of it.
I mean, a good plate of spaghetti never hurt anybody.
No, and every time I've cooked spaghetti, it takes me several hours because I'm like cooking 5 pounds of meat because I love meat in my spaghetti, and that takes a few hours just simmering on the stove, and then the noodles don't take hardly any time at all.
Yeah.
And then I have food to last, I don't know, 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah, you got to get the sauce right. Without the right sauce, it's not worth it.
It's ragu or prego or
exactly
something similar to that, and I love it, but I haven't had spaghetti in quite a while. I need to cook some, but I'm kind of worried about the tummy here.
Oh,
I'm trying to go down, and the last time you saw me, I've been pretty much the same weight. However, I had a garage sale, went through clothes trying to downsize, and discovered how many pairs of pants do not fit me, even though I have not changed the size I wear.
I mean, it's possible that as gamers get older, we lose muscle mass and we gain fat, so that weight can stay the same, but we're getting rounder without realizing it.
Yeah, I took a tape measure around my waist, and I was like 43 inches around. It's like, crap. And then I just kind of dialed back my eating for the weekend because I was kind of running around busy moving stuff around. 4-day weekend. Spent an entire day searching for stuff to get rid of, and then Saturday had the sale with the extra added attraction of an arcade in the back.
Oh, nice.
How many garage sales have you had? How many garage sales have you encountered where there's like an arcade in the back room of the garage? Mine did.
Well,
but then
how many cabinets do you have in that?
5 full-size cabinets. I have a Vanguard, Mania, Raiden 2, X-Men Children of the Atom, which was converted from some 4-player game, and I don't know what. I know it was a 4-player cabinet at one point. And I have a multicade where I can just throw any JAMA board in there. And then, of course, some tabletop one-ups I won at auction for less than $100 each.
Nice.
And a bar topper.
We've got an MVS here that no one will be able to see, but we can. There you go. You got some of the.
You're gonna have to turn off the background. I mean, I was thinking of doing this for this entire podcast. Is throw the banana flag up because of what happened today.
It's very, very Andy Warhol of you. C.
Yeah, I'm gonna save this for towards the end of the podcast because I do tend to rant. I call myself a mad conservative for a reason, and I have reason to squawk tonight. I'm going to turn that flag off for now. I have reason to squawk, but some members of my audience are not the same political view as I am, so I'm going to save it towards the end, and those folks who have gotten their fill of the gaming portion don't have to sit through it. They can take off. But I'm not. I don't know what your political stance is. I'm not going to get into it. The sad thing, however, you're talking about YouTube being this cesspool environment. Oh, there's lots of politics. And unfortunately, now gaming is being infested by politics lately. And I don't like it.
I mean, I would argue that gaming has always kind of had politics in it, you know? I mean, go back to Contra.
Yeah, but Contra is like a running it. Well, it had the name Contra in it. It wasn't geared to be, I don't know, some sort of game supporting the Iran-Contra affair or something, or funding the Contras down in the middle Central America. That's not why it was called Contra.
No, well, but I think that it was playing on that message, and I think that it's hard to tell a story, any story, without it having some sort of political viewpoint. And I think that it's easy for those stories to not feel as political when they align with what we believe. It's when those viewpoints challenge us that we start to see them as political. Something like Star Fox doesn't feel political because, hey, we're the good guys fighting off the bad guys. But
yeah,
if your viewpoint aligns with Andros, then you're going to say, hey, this feels pretty political here. Why should I be getting killed? I'm just a space monkey man.
The difference, though, however, is today's gaming, the content of the game, and there's a lot of dialogue in current gaming now, as opposed to back then. The ROM size wasn't much, so all you had was text. You didn't have any characters talking to you very much. With the older games, as the technology evolved, there's more speech incorporated in the games, but now some games have turned into a glorified campaign commercial where they're actually preaching to you, telling you how to live, how the world should be, blah, 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 blah. Gaming is meant to be an escape from the ugliness of the world. And unfortunately, there's some people who want to take the ugliness of the world and shove it in your face as you're trying to engage in your leisure.
I think for some people, though, the ugliness of the world can be that escape. It can be, it can be an escape for them to see maybe a reality that they want to see. It can be,
yeah.
I mean, especially in like role-playing games, I think that those have always been a space where we've seen politics at the forefront. And again, I think that it's easy to not see something as political when it doesn't feel like a belief that is challenging to what our notions are. But look at a lot of the old Final Fantasy games. You always, even today, you have people saying, no, I think the villain was right. Like I think that games are a good medium to challenge politics, to ask those questions, to, they don't always have to be an escape where you turn off your brain. They can be something where you're engaging with a story, and maybe I'm using Andros as an example because I think Destroy the Galaxy is a pretty uncontroversial, not good political viewpoint, but it could be anything. But if you take someone like Andros and you're saying like, I agree with this, but I'm fighting this guy. Like, some of the stuff he's saying sounds right, but I'm made to fight him. I think that those are the moments, like those challenging moments are what can make you think a little bit more about yourself. And to me, those are the games that sit with me. My favorite game is Earthbound, and I think that it, the message of love and hope and working together through the mind of like an innocent child is something that isn't touched on in a lot of games. The idea of growing up and what the loss you feel growing up, the changes that you inherently go through by becoming an adult isn't a theme touched on by a lot of games. The themes of nostalgia and loss, and that doesn't feel like an escape. It feels like it's intentionally challenging my preconceived notions of what a gaming narrative should be. And so I think that, yeah, we might be entering an era where some games are challenging our viewpoints or our thoughts a bit more than they used to, but I think that is their goal. Their goal, I don't know that it's necessarily to push a narrative or to push an agenda. I think it's to challenge an agenda that already exists. And I think if any of those things are upsetting or challenging, then I think those games are doing their job. They want you to ask those questions. I don't think they necessarily want they want to sway anyone and change anyone's mind, but they want you thinking about those things.
So we have somebody is wondering why you're in spaghetti. You know this guy?
I feel like I had to be in spaghetti. There's no reason not to. It's like you said, you get that meat cooking for hours, and then the spaghetti happens in a few minutes, and you just got to dive right in.
Yeah, and I love it. So let's go through. Actually, going back to the YouTube cesspool. Gosh, yeah, and there's all sorts of daggum videos on, like what we just talked about. In fact, anime is kind of a good example of what you were talking about, because I used to watch it all the time. I got rid of cable because I just don't have the patience to watch television anymore. And yes, I played some games where it's like some notions are challenged, although they didn't use. It's just pretty much a work of fiction. It's not. These are just fictional characters you're playing in a world that's been created, and they're fun, and I'd still play them. I know there's been games out there that, based on popular franchises or IPs, and there's been complaints about how certain characters have been, I don't know, disrespected by whoever's publishing the game, because they, I guess they didn't like the source material, so they're greatly altering it because they want to, I guess, elevate who they think should be given all the attention, like the Justice League being disrespected by the Suicide Squad. If you're familiar with that one.
Yeah, I saw a bit of that. I didn't play the game, but I saw people talking about it.
These days, not very many people are playing it now. They came and they only got like a few hundred people playing it online, and
yeah,
they expected it to be a bigger hit than it was, but they didn't like once they saw what happened with Batman and being Kevin Conroy's one of his final voiceovers. I think that was the last straw with a lot of people.
I think a lot of games in general, a big problem these days is we don't see a lot of companies taking risks with games. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same in movies. People they play it very safe. I mean, gaming is, if I remember correctly, it's surpassed the film industry in terms of like expenses, and we don't see, like we used to, experimentation in games. Everything is, based on these. Sorry, my laptop decided to really start yelling, so I'm unplugging those fans. We don't see experimentation. Everything is now based on either existing IPs or, from the creators of such and such, and it's the same game but with a new coat of paint. And I think that's something that's
like Paper Mario.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, Paper Mario, this new Silent Hill remake that's just using the combat style of the Resident Evil 2 remakes. It's all of these things. They don't feel. Yeah, well, exactly. I think that what Girly Man 887 said is 100% spot on. That you'll see all these live service games come out, and they I mean, the Fortnite's a proven formula. It's
Yeah.
change things up every 3 months. But every game tries to do that now. I feel like we are sold incomplete games and told to wait until they're patched and fixed. And
Yeah.
like
I
I've been
like,
playing a bit of Fallout 76 lately. Yeah, exactly. Mario is
yeah,
Mario. You get the game and it's ready to go.
in a cart. But now it's like every now they want us to download and get rid of physical media,
Yeah.
which I'm not happy about, because if you get rid of physical media and you'd use, I don't know, Steam, and it came out last week that you can't put in your will you want to transfer your digital library to someone else. They're not going to allow that.
Right.
So all that money you put into your investment, and by the way, the service can shut down at any time.
Right.
Forever. And can you get that stuff back? No. You have to buy all that stuff over again on a different service.
Yep. It's
sad.
It's frustrating. It is sad. I think that I miss the days of having manuals to look through. But I think this is old man grandpa stuff. I don't think younger people care about that as much. Like, because at the end of the day, when you die, and your games, even if you could pass it all on, like I'm looking at my game collection and thinking, like, man, if I had kids and I left this to them, they would view it as a burden, and they probably sell it all at a yard sale for like $100 and not think about the value of it. So I don't think there's any like real loss in terms of not being able to transfer on your purchases like when you pass on. But I do think that the digital era allows for publishers to push developers harder to get a game out the door in an unfinished state. I was about to say that I've been playing Fallout 76 and I have been having a good time with it. But I look at where that game is now versus where it was, 4 or 5 years ago when it came out, and it's night and day different.
Yeah.
What's available in the game. It's and that's sad to me to think that, one, this is a Fallout, like this is a role-playing game that is online only, which means if only you bring them with you.
Yeah, I'd like to play video games in the afterlife too. I don't know if they'll allow me to do that in heaven.
I think the best heaven will have all the games that you could ever want. Your own personal arcade. You get to set it up however you want. What would you put in there? Your top 10 arcade cabinets.
Oh,
you only get 10.
I would have one of them would be a multicade, which would have all the games.
No, that's not
on.
allowed. It has to just be.
Well, they've asked me this question: what game would I take to a private island? And it's like obviously a multicade, but if it was one, yeah, it'd be difficult to take. Oh gosh, what the heck would I do? I don't know. There'd have to be a Pac-Man. There'd have to be, I don't know. It'd have to be a platformer. Could be Donkey Kong. Could be, gosh, could be a run and gun shooter. There's so much, and I say that because I go on a regular basis to the largest arcade in the country.
Yeah.
And I play a game until I take the score or get a score high enough, I may not be able to take the house high. And then I move on to the next game because I'm just kind of all these scores are kind of being put in a database where I'm like chasing somebody for rank and tokens.
Do you feel like that's what you enjoy best about gaming, like kind of the competitive aspect of it?
I didn't want to jump ahead because I wanted to show you something before but we just moved on. I mean, I'm chasing stuff like this. Title belts. This is the Galloping Ghost. Gosh, I gotta get that banner out of the way. Let me turn that off. Good grief, that's in my brand. There we go. Turn that off. There we go. This is the Galloping Ghost Pinball Expo title. It will be defended in October back in Schaumburg, Illinois, at the 40th annual Pinball Expo. And this will go, and that Pinball Expo will run 6 days instead of 5 because it's year 40 on it of this competition. I've won 4 different titles at Galloping Ghost. The hardcore title was the T20 title and Gamer of the Year. I tried for C2E2 about a month ago. I fell short. And I got beat by somebody who's won every title at Galloping Ghost except T20. Well, he's the gamer of the decade, so he's stiff competition. But I don't know. He always doubts himself, so I don't know. I'm still trying to encourage him.
I got a tough question for you. What would you say are perfect games? Not games that you like, not games that you enjoy, but games that you think from an objective standpoint are perfect.
I have no you know what? Probably when it came out and been out a few years, Resident Evil 4 for the GameCube was almost absolutely perfect. Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask for the GameCube was absolutely perfect. Those are 2. Resident Evil 4 got remade, and it actually surpasses the original in so many different ways. It's unbelievable.
Okay, so here would be my complaints with those 2 games. Well, I do think both of those are great games. Majora's Mask is my favorite 3D Zelda, but a lot of people can't get over the time limit. A lot of people feel too stressed. They feel like it's too in the way. And
time limit?
Yeah, the 3-day like resetting clock. So I think that alone is enough to disqualify.
You know what?
Being perfect.
Actually, I made a mistake. Not Majora's Mask. Twilight Princess. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess, a lot of people make the argument that the world feels too empty. So
it's a big world.
I'm talking about games where there are next to no complaints. The only one, the one that always comes to mind for me is Tetris. Like I think that Tetris is a game you could give to a 4-year-old and they would understand how to play it. They wouldn't be good at it, but they could understand the game. You know, the music is catchy. It's the classic rule of any game where it's easy to learn but difficult to master.
Like
do you think there are any other games like that? Pac-Man, I think, is a good one. Yeah,
Frogger's another. Frogger's another. I mean, any of the early shoot 'em ups like Galaga or Galaxian.
I'd be less likely to say Galaxian. Galaga is one of my favorite games. I've never played a Galaga machine where I didn't set the high score. And anytime I see a high score that looks too high, I just don't play the machine.
Well, you'd have stiff competition from one John Liming.
I believe it. I wouldn't play that machine though. Shrek 2 for PS2, that's a classic.
Super Mario World, yep, perfect game. Although there's a lot of glitches, and people have found ways to reprogram the game in the game, like program Flappy Bird. Yeah.
I think Final Fantasy VII, again, that's a game that I love, but I think that there's enough of a learning curve of how the game works to where it would be off-putting to new players. Like if someone hasn't played an RPG, like all that text might be overwhelming. Trying to understand like the systems of the game. I don't
the original or the remake?
Either I think.
Okay.
I think the remake is. I mean, any game with cutscene. Like I love Metal Gear, but I would have a hard time telling someone, yeah, this is a perfect game when they're sitting through an hour-long codec call, just pressing next. Like, all right, like that doesn't feel perfect to me. That feels. I feel like if you could levy any complaint against the game, if you could say, oh, I could see why someone wouldn't like it because of this element, then it can't be a perfect game. And I think, like you said, that's one of the big problems with Super Mario World is I don't think my elderly father in his late 70s, if I gave him Super Mario World, he would look at the controller and he would look at the game and he would be confused. He'd be like, wait, so where do I go? What do I do? And if ever you put a controller in the hands of a 4-year-old or an 80-year-old and they say, what do I do? It can't be a perfect game.
Okay. Now here's another question. Is Double Dribble a perfect game?
I've never played Double Dribble.
You've never played Double Dribble?
No, I've never played it.
And this was one of your regular bits on your channel is the trade-up challenge.
So the bit with Double Dribble started because I had, like I said, I had that business where I would like go around and buy and sell games, and a buddy of mine who's a local game store owner, he anytime you would spend a lot of money at his store, he had, for some reason, hundreds of copies of Double Dribble. And anytime you would buy a bunch of stuff from him, I'd go in and spend a few $100s or whatever, and he would slide into the bag a Double Dribble. And so it got to the point where all of the local collectors just had dozens of copies of Double Dribble because of this guy. And so, like I said, this all kind of started as like, the channel started as like an inside joke between me and a bunch of my friends, and we all thought Double Dribble was the funniest game in the world because of that. But we all refused to play it.
I don't know what this. He made some other comment, and I'm afraid to show it. Probably have it at. Oh, he got it figured out, I guess. James Lee said something about how am I supposed to blank off to this? And I was like, I'm not showing that. But welcome in. Well, I've got some new viewers tonight because generally I'm focused on the Midwest, although I've had somebody from Canada and United Kingdom, but they've come to the Galloping Ghost. So, and I'll be interviewing somebody from a neighboring state next week. But then after that, somebody from state Texas, I know. So,
you're all over the place.
Yes, and maybe somebody from Australia soon. We'll see, because he's supposed to come out to Chicago in August. It's anniversary month, but Double Dribble. So you got all these Double Dribble carts, but you've never played it. So here's the next question. What was the most valuable item you traded up from a double dribble to?
Oh man. Single item is hard.
I mean, the videos are out there, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, it was something I was doing before the videos, though. So.
Well, let's say the ballpark figure. How valuable was the item? I guess.
That's a single item is hard because usually I would get stuck and have to split it into multiple items.
Okay.
Where I'd go on like branching paths, but I mean, maybe $1,000 at the time.
That's not bad. That's not
Um,
bad. I mean, you did something at Missouri GameCon where you like broke 4 digits.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I
and I
don't
also
know.
found, bizarrely, I found a copy of Double Dribble for the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
It
What's
wasn't
the
mine,
song?
so second season.
Yeah. In Japan, the games are called Hyperdunk. I think that's a much better name. I don't want to double dribble. I think that's bad. You don't want to double dribble, but you do want to hyperdunk.
Atari got its own version called Double Dunk.
And it makes a lot more sense. Like every time you do that dunk, you get that, yeah, hyperdunk. Look at that. You just hyperdunked.
I also want to mention Galvin Ghost Arcade has the arcade, or Galvin Ghost has the arcade version of this. It finally made it back to the floor once they opened the new expansion. In fact, I'm going to go back in time because you did make an appearance at the Galvin Ghost.
Yes.
Outside the Galloping Ghost in Chicago, one of the biggest arcades in the country. We've heard that there's just about every game you can find in there, so let's see if we can.
I believe this was from 2016 or 17.
As you can see, arcades are just as popular as
2016.
ever. I mean, look at this place. It is packed to the brim.
Well, if you go back now, it's almost at 1,000 games.
Oh wow. Do you know what it was then?
It was about 400
Hey,
to 500.
Wow.
Wow, you scared that kid.
Started on August 13th, 2010.
I don't believe that gentleman works there anymore.
Boy,
I don't recognize him.
Get so much what?
Last year we had people from
Yeah, that gentleman's
California,
gone. I
Texas,
don't
Canada,
remember his
all over
name.
the United States, multiple from Canada.
So here we are at Haunted Castle. It's a real tougher.
Yeah, Canada's part of America. Well, somebody wants it to be.
One-handed. Fuck! Oh, man, I'll use both.
Yeah, that game's a nightmare. Not a perfect game. Not a perfect Castlevania game. But welcome, James Lee. Welcome, Zubular number 2.
So there you have it, folks. Arcades are just
First-time viewers.
Now it's time for us to get out of here.
Yeah, somehow you got lost, and it's much worse now.
Hey, it's over here.
Is it?
Yes, they've added more buildings.
Now it's time for us to get
So
out
now
of here.
the entire strip mall is taken up by the arcade.
That's
the
wild.
entire strip mall, from Canton all the way to the end of the block.
I can't imagine what their power bill is.
Everybody's wondered, what is his power bill every month? Only Doc knows.
Do they have nights like this still where there's no one there? Have you ever been in and it's been completely empty?
I have been in there when it is about completely empty, but that's usually a
You go
closing
that way, I'll go
time.
this way.
Gotcha.
So
I do
generally,
think this was like a Tuesday. So
yeah, the peak days, yeah.
This way.
Can't remember what shop. Oh yeah, you're in the front of the arcade, right by the entrance, and it's like you couldn't spot the front door apparently.
The audience doesn't need to know that.
Anyway. But yeah, now it's just like Canton all the way to the other. Yeah.
2016 doesn't feel like 8 years ago.
Well, yeah,
That's
I know. Time has flown. But I started going at about 2014. And so I've been there for 10 years. Amazing. I don't have the trophy. I was going to show off my little trophy I got from them, but oh well.
I believe you that you got a real cool trophy.
Well, I can show you the other one because it's right here. The reason why I don't have the Galloping Ghost trophy is because that little guy over there behind me decided to start chewing on it.
Oh, no.
Yes. This is the Nintendo Campus Challenge Trophy. This does not leave the house. And the reason why it doesn't leave the house is because I don't want this to be broken.
I don't blame
by
you.
any sort of accidents. So,
you ever put candy in it and like eat candy out of it?
No, I don't. I do. I do have a Super Mario Mushroom candy jar. So it's full of candy. I just have to fetch it out of the mushroom now.
Haven't you ever wanted to have like a big throne so that when people walk into your house, you can be sitting on the throne drinking out of the campus challenge chalice with some champagne in there?
I've never kind of been. See, I'm not a throne type of guy. I'm just more of a commentator. I want to be in front of the camera and talk, or at least, or behind the microphone as I am calling play-by-play. From what I'm watching. Yeah, you talked about YouTube being, I guess, a cesspool. Well, besides the gaming scene, I was involved in the wrestling scene, and that's just as bad and sometimes even worse.
Yeah.
Although lately, gaming's yeah, cute, James. He said some other stuff, which I'm not going to show. But keep it clean, kids. No, I'm not going to repeat what Zubular said. Oh, crap. I accidentally clicked on it.
You did put it on there, though.
Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. I was going to hide it, and then that thing scrolled up. Damn it.
Well, it's on there forever now. It's in the VOD.
No, I can edit it out because the streams on Twitch only last a week, and then I just move it over to YouTube right before they expire. So this will stay up on YouTube after it leaves Twitch. Here's let's go back a little bit. Well, let's go to Missouri Game Con for why not? Why not? Since I pulled out the trophy. Streams last week. Yeah, I know the internet's internal, but that's only if you download and save it. If you miss your chance to download and save it, then it's going to get lost. In fact, I started freaking when I won the Gamer of the Year, and I couldn't find the ceremony where I was awarded the championship belt. I wondered if I downloaded it, and I couldn't find it. And then I started because I got a message from one of the employees at Galloping Ghost asking if I had footage from T20 or the Gamer of the Year ceremony. And it's like, and I started looking for it. It's like, oh, it's not on Twitch anymore. Oh, crap. Do I have this footage? Did I forget to download it? But I did save it. Thankfully, I discovered it like 11 months later on an external drive because I forgot where I didn't save it to. So after that, I just put it on a thumb drive, took copies of it up to Galloping Ghost to make sure that they had a physical copy of the video because they might have lost it. And then I uploaded the ceremonies onto my YouTube channel. So they're staying unless YouTube and whoever's running it gets out of line and then starts deleting content like they did during the pandemic because they didn't like what people were saying.
You never know. Gamers might just be the next group that get completely silenced.
Well, that's already going on because I don't know if you know who Smash JT is. People at Kotaku they got a bunch of people together and mass reported his site because he compiled a list of articles that they wrote that were very controversial and offensive to other gamers. And thankfully, that failed.
Sometimes
you
got a game.
Well, we don't care for the cry bullying either, so and
Yeah.
we don't care for cry bullying, and the Kotaku writers are cry bullies, and we've had a lot of that lately because they demand this, and the other, and then once somebody complies with their demands, they don't pull out their wallets and financially support the people who do their bidding. So it's basically, we want you to do this for us, but when it comes time for us to reward you, see ya. We got what we wanted. Have a nice day. Bye. It's like, why the heck? I don't get this coming either. I think I'm going to start ignoring the chat for a bit. Well, let's go back to the
notepad. Ask those questions. Rapid fire. Hit me with them.
Or no. Well,
let's
it's a
hear
mixture of off the cuff. I have what I've written down. In fact, I have all the videos I'm going to deal with. So let's go to the Missouri Game Con here.
Missouri Game Con. Tons of people, tons of vendors, lots of fun. But I heard the winner of the
This is the first Missouri Game Con.
Yes, and it was a little tight in there. They had to meter people into the building because there was only there's a upper limit on capacity.
Winner of the 1991 Campus Challenge. Now, Steven, I would really like to challenge you. I want to dethrone your title. What do you have to say about that?
I have to be the bearer of bad news, but I was never the record holder on the Nintendo Campus Challenge cartridge. I just happened to score enough points when I needed to win the tournament.
So what's your high score?
Well, I just played this a few minutes ago and put up a score of 3.8 million, which topped my personal best of 2.6 25 years ago.
So 3.8
well,
is all we got to beat. We'll see if we can do it. If I'm going to beat this guy, I'm going to have to train real hard. So let's get
anyway, little bit of an update. So Paul Tessie has the world record on the tournament cartridge. He raised it up to 24 million points, and I actually had him on the podcast a couple of months ago. It was awesome to have him on there because, yeah, he destroyed whatever scores were gotten 30 years ago and keeps going up and up and up. I think he's hit the upper limit. Yeah, this training video. Where did you shoot this portion?
All around.
My goodness. You know, I forgot about all this. Yeah, and this... I don't know where you were running there because... this was at an American Legion Hall. Oh gosh, last year they moved back into just as tight quarters. so daggum tight. It was like barely people could walk through the aisles. And I was kind of pinned against the wall with my table. But now they moved to the bigger digs this year. So let me ask you this. Have you gotten any better at Super Mario?
No. No, I don't play video games.
You stopped.
No, I play games. I've never been into competitive gaming. I used to speedrun, but I haven't done that in a while.
What did you speedrun?
Years ago, Mega Man X. I used to speedrun Portal. I got into Human Fall Flat. I was speedrunning that a few years ago. I was never like great at them, but
I didn't get to this game.
you know.
I ran out of time.
And this is where I screwed up royally.
Yeah, why'd you say that? I win because you said that. If you hadn't told me you were disqualified, I wouldn't have felt like a winner.
The rules were, at the Campus Challenge, that you had to play all 3 games. They would throw... If I failed to play all 3 games during the tournament, it wouldn't have counted. So you had to play all 3 games. Now, if you want point press on Super Mario, you can. But you gotta get to the last game and score a point for it to count. That's been kind of the rule every tournament. So you did win. You did beat me. I don't know how many one-on-one challenges you had against other gamers, but was this? Did you have other one-on-one challenges? Or
you mean like on the channel?
Yeah.
Or no, I don't think
kind
so.
Kind of like the one, the one against me. I was the only one.
I think so, yeah. Because I was looking at, I forget if it was the Facebook page or the website for Missouri GameCon, and I was like, this feels like it's going to be a bit of a smaller convention. What's my angle? And I was looking at it with some people, and I came up with the whole idea for the training montage and everything before even getting there. I was like, oh. Like me and a friend at the time were like, that would be a good idea. Like the campus challenge. What if we lean into like the college sports aspect of it? And like, he seems like a cool guy. I'm sure he'd be down to challenge you. And if not, then you still do the training montage. And the video is like, I did all this training for no reason. He didn't even want to challenge me. I had backup plans.
I rarely shy away from a challenge. In fact, I have a best of 7 challenge against one JP Pitts at the Galloping Ghost whenever I make it back up there. All fighting games because they do the Bloody Wars tournament. I'm seeing the next one out, and I'll have to address that towards the end of the podcast. Yeah, best of 7 randomly drawn. Well, right now they've got like 100 some odd fighting games at Galloping Ghost, and I put them all in a spreadsheet in order. So kind of like the hardcore challenge, except it's limited to just the fighting games, and then whichever 7 are drawn, I play against JP Pitts, and 2 out of 3 matches, which are 2 out of 3 falls each, unless it's a single fall game, like, I don't know, WWE WrestleFest. Yeah, first best.
That's a lot of matches.
Well, yes, but you're trying to determine who is the best fighting game player, me or and he's the host of it. And I challenged him because I was kind of disputing how he was determining who was ranked where. He wasn't basing it strictly on win-loss record. He was just like, I couldn't figure out how he was doing it. And then started questioning things, and then he put me at the very bottom of the list. And I decided to challenge him to a best of 7 to kind of show him that I was Gamer of the Year for a reason.
Were you Gamer of the Year every year?
There's only been 10 Gamers of the Year. Only 2 people have repeated.
Okay.
Doc Mack tends to want to award Gamer of the Year to somebody completely new. And I'll get to that towards the end of the podcast because there's a little bit of an update on that. Galloping Ghost has only been open, so we're going to reach the 14th anniversary in August. August 13th, they have the T20 tournament on 20 different arcade games the weekend before. They're going to unveil whatever game 1000 is Monday the 12th. Of course, now they got to start putting out 2 at a time because they're not going to, they're at, what is it? 980. So they got and there's only like, 10 weeks to go. Gosh. But there's the other problem is when they opened the Canton expansion, it was already full because they've had to pull the game off the floor because there wasn't room for it with the space that was open. Now they're talking about adding a second floor to the building.
Oh my God.
A second and a third.
They'll have to the Galloping Ghost arcade and elevator service.
Yeah, that's gonna be something. But yeah, you did beat me you did beat me. I was kind of in the mindset. There was prizes on the line for whoever got the high score of the day, and it wasn't me that won. There were Dr. Mario players in there, and somebody broke 10 million. Maybe got to about 15, and took home, I think, a big screen TV and a bunch of games. But I was all too happy to present announce the winner at the convention. Well, let me ask you, move on to another topic. So you started what year? 2014 or 2015? 2013. Okay. 2 years into this, there was a bit of a controversy. And 2015, and somebody I know just got a panel at ColossalCon. Well, 2015, 9 years ago, you went out there for the first time. I've never been to it.
Kids, we're here at Kalahari.
This video,
Do not enter.
I guess rubbed somebody the wrong way or something.
Let's have some fun.
It wasn't this video. It was a video I did in 2016 or 2017. I think it was 2016.
Well, let me back up a second. So you went to ColossalCon. I did dig through your YouTube channel today, or beforehand. I just kind of learned all the ColossalCon controversy, and then I saw this podcast that you did with somebody, where you were. It was 2016. That was the year. There's all this discussion about somebody complained, and then ColossalCon put out a tweet or a Facebook post saying, you did this, you did that. And I don't know what the fuss was about, and I'm just curious what the heck happened.
So I believe it was a video I made in 2016. I actually talked to ColossalCon staff after this, and I'll get to that. But they I go to conventions, I film whatever, the thing I'm doing at the time, and I filmed at ColossalCon. It passed, whatever. A few months later, I get a message from a friend of mine who's a professional cosplayer, and she's like, "Hey, do you follow ColossalCon on Facebook?" And I said, "No, why?" And she sends me this thing. They've posted my 2016 ColossalCon video. I made 2 of them, and they posted one of them and said, wrote this article about me saying I was harassing people, and they felt like I was singling people out to, you know, I was singling people out and making them feel bad. And they were claiming that I was breaking the law by recording and all this stuff. And suddenly all of these people on there are sending me death threats. They're they found my personal Facebook and are sending me death threats. They're contacting the people at the YouTube network I was signed with, and it became this whole debacle. But I embraced it because I was like, this isn't affecting me at all. All they're doing is driving viewers to my channel.
Yeah.
So I put out a video explaining it. My network's lawyers contacted them and basically sent them a cease and desist and said, like, hey, you know, you
Calm
put this dude
down.
on, yeah, you put this dude on blast. And I made the point in the response video where I was like, if they want to ban me, that's fine. They're allowed. They're allowed to say, hey, you're an asshole, don't come to our convention again. And I would have said, oh, okay. I guess I upset someone, and that's fine. Because especially those early days, like I did bombard people. I would run up to people and just start filming without asking permission or anything.
Kind of like candid camera.
Yeah, and I'm sure I did that to someone, and they felt like I represented them in a bad way in the video. They maybe felt insulted, and that's fair. That's fine. And you know, after this controversy, I started having every single person that I filmed sign a release form and everything. And
did I sign one?
That was before. It was before, you didn't sign anything because it was before that incident. But
I don't remember signing anything, but I wouldn't have. No. I would have just flat out said no. I wouldn't have cared because,
right,
I'm used to this nonsense.
I don't think it's complete nonsense, because I get it. But that's the thing. Someone was upset that I filmed them and put them in a video. They felt like I was making fun of them, and I never felt like I was making fun of anyone. I always felt like I was the butt of the joke. But if someone felt upset, then they're allowed to feel upset. They're allowed to not want to be in the video.
Yeah,
I think they were scared to reach
out
to me. Yeah. I think they were scared to reach out to me, and because like, oh, this guy's making fun of me. What am I going to tell him? Stop making fun of me. What if it gets worse? So he reached out to the convention and said, hey, I feel like he's making fun of me, and I don't know what to do. I don't know if I feel safe. Like, what if he harasses me? And instead of the convention reaching out to me and saying, hey, don't be an asshole or don't come to our convention, they just put me on blast. And what I found out later from Colossal Con staff was that they didn't approve that. I guess this guy brought that up to them, and they're like, oh, I mean, that sounds like a personal issue between these two people. I don't think we need to like do anything about it. And you
don't even know who this person is, though.
I have no idea. I have no idea. So he wasn't happy about that. So he made the Facebook post singling me out. And I get all these death threats. And so what I did, I talked to a lot of lawyers about it, and I put this video out basically saying what I'm saying now, like, hey, I get it. Like, if you're upset, you're upset. You're allowed to be upset that I filmed you. People, though, are saying that I'm harassing people, and then harassment became sexual harassment, and then sexual harassment became stalking, and it all just escalated. And I was like, listen, guys, like, this sort of stuff does happen. People do harass people. People do sexually assault people. Like, that stuff happens. But you can't take every instance of someone doing something wrong and blow it up into that. And I fully like accepted. I was like, if you want to say that I was like being an asshole, fine. I admit that. I own up to that. I own up to the fact that I shouldn't bombard people with a camera and a microphone. That, maybe that's not the polite way to go about filming a YouTube video.
Yeah.
But all these people just like, it felt so weird that all of these people were calling me out and saying that I'm a bully, and then were insulting me, were making fun of the way that I look, were, making fun of the way that I talk. And it's like, how did we land here? How did we
how we land here. Twitter is basically a human toxic waste dump.
This was all on Facebook, though.
Yeah, well, social media. Oh, well, we can pretty much apply it to all social media.
Yeah.
Social media has pretty much drawn in the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
So many easily butthurt little kids. They're so thin-skinned. They've been kind of coddled by their helicopter parents. They can't take an insult. They just like, I had to grow up. I grew up. Nobody cared about my feelings when I grew up. And I had to deal with so much crap in grade school, junior high, high school. Nobody gave a damn about my feelings. And now we have a climate of everybody's bending over backwards for these immature little kids. Nobody wants to tell them to grow thick skin. No one wants to tell them no to anything. I mean, I used to be heavily involved in the wrestling business. I was pretty much driven out by a few little kids who can't stand an opinion they don't like. It's so ridiculous. It's like, and now we've got the state of the country the way it is, and it's just like going to hell in handbaskets. I mean, there's now finally some pushback against some of this nonsense, but is it too little too late? And now it's like, after what happened earlier today, I think we're like another huge step towards full-out civil war.
It's always on the table. Who do you think would win in an all-out fist fight between Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping?
Probably
no
Putin.
one's helping them. I think Putin's winning.
Because I see all these videos of him showing off his masculinity, and that's another thing. They've been trying to run that out, try to do away with that. Well, that's actually done. That has not helped anything.
Yeah, we should have more of Putin's muscles.
We have too many weak men around, and nobody has thick
Putin's
skin.
muscles. Yeah.
I mean, if war breaks out and they reinstitute the draft, there's going to be all these people who are going to find out in the most severely painful, terrifying way possible how little the world cares about their feelings, and the enemy even less. And there's not.
I think a lot of them will go into logistics, though. You'll have all these gamers flying drones.
Well,
because when they draft people,
but not everybody.
No.
I mean,
you put the strong guys on the front line. You put the silly gamers in charge of the drones with the Xbox controller.
No, they're going to throw the most expendable people in the front lines, and the strong people will I don't know.
I mean, physically strong. Like they're gonna put the tankiest dudes up front.
Well, they don't want them. They don't want them gunned down first. They want to take down kind of the pawns. The pawns have to go first. So the bishop, the queen, the rook, the knight can mop up the enemy after they've wasted all their ammo on the front line.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta sacrifice a few pawns to set up your Caro-Kann defense.
Like I said, James, I am not going to ask what Brody's political alignment is, but I make my political alignment no secret. And it's just that nobody wants to agree to disagree anymore. It's just like, it's my way or it's the highway or who knows what else. It's like,
Steven, I want to know what else you have on your note cards. I want to know what else you wrote down, because you prepared for this. This is all I've
written down. This is all I've written down.
Have we reached it? Do we reach the conclusion of the note?
Not yet. There's a
Okay.
few other comments. I mean, we got through. We got through a lot of this so far, and we're an hour and 15 minutes into the podcast. So I did see you went back to ColossalCon because there was a 2017 video.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
they
that
never
got
banned me.
cleared up.
It didn't get cleared up. Nothing happened. Nothing happened from it. They made that post and then nothing else happened.
And that's good but yeah, the death threats and stuff is like, that's ridiculous.
Well, I think though it's the thing we were talking about earlier where
there's a word for that, cancel culture.
No, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think that it's people like to pile on, and I don't think that that has anything to do with political alignments. I don't think that has anything to do with, what side of a fence you sit on. I think everybody, when they find a common enemy that them and their peers can agree this thing or person sucks, they all want to jump on it. And I was the ColossalCon anime gamers hated enemy of the week that they forgot about in 4 days. And
the biggest deal.
When I put out my response video, every single one of them flipped and suddenly, haha, ColossalCon's a bunch of idiots and this guy's actually really funny.
Yeah, and you did a few podcasts to kind of get the story out and answer questions.
Yeah, because like I said, I kind of wanted to take advantage of it. I'm like, oh man, like I want this character to be controversial, and I didn't even have to manufacture a controversy. It happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff's controversy creates cash, although it doesn't work for everybody. But a couple of the most popular, I did take a look to see what was the most popular videos on your channel. This happens to be the most viewed video on your channel, and I'm kind of curious why.
Oh, everyone has been waiting on this for a while.
This is the horses video.
Yeah, this guy, I used to know him really well, and he has a popular YouTube channel, and he made a video about horses. So during lockdown, I wasn't exactly able to go to conventions and do anything, and like I said, that was when I was already starting to get towards the end of like, all right, I've hit my narrative arc with this character, and I want to, start my fall off. So during lockdown, I had this idea, like, what if my character goes crazy from like being trapped inside, and I started planning this thing called the Ant Olympics.
Right.
And I had this idea that what if every week I reached out to different content creators that I knew, and they either made a video or voiced a video, and I edited the video. Like this video, I just got the audio and I put the video together. But I wanted to build this narrative that the character was gone forever, so that when I came back, it would be this big cinematic reveal, and I wanted to string people along on that for as much time as I could. And I don't really like to think. I think it was over 7 months. I was off my channel. I didn't make a single appearance on my even though, like I said, I was writing videos. I was like collaborating with people to
there's a lot of fields in this country.
To work on stuff.
You have grass. You have everything.
This was during the pandemic.
You're out on a walk somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. And so from like either March or April of 2020 until like October or November of 2020, I wasn't on my channel, and I made this whole like grand reveal when I came back, but the character had changed. He was
holy cow. This is I saw
horses are wild.
They just took out a gator and then it just threw a guy, like knocked a guy over, and sheesh.
Yeah,
I've never seen a horse lay down like that.
I had to look at a lot of horse videos for this.
I've never seen a horse like lay down on the ground and nap.
tanks or their planes, and the horses will get
Yeah.
away. You just have to pet them and
Wow.
and hope for the
Wild.
Horses are crazy creatures.
They're majestic. They're peaceful for the most
I
part.
don't know about peaceful. They're wild. They're wild critters. They like to bite. They like to gnaw. They like to eat.
Well, they'd like to eat, yes. I haven't had a bad experience with a horse, but then again, this guy wants to say, finish your story, Brody.
Oh, what
I'll
was?
tell you
I don't even
this.
remember what I was talking about. Oh, yeah, no, I had a big grand reveal. I thought that was the end. What, James Lee? Tell me where did I stop? I don't remember. I don't remember what I was talking about. I thought I had reached a conclusion, but
Well, during the pandemic, and yeah, I guess I should ask, did COVID just kind of ruin everything for you and just kind of rushed over the, or at least made you want to end the character sooner? Or
I think that it did help accelerate. Oh, how did the reveal go? Okay, yeah, I think it accelerated the end of the channel, which was fine because like I was starting to get really burnt out. It's frustrating putting dozens of hours into a video and having it get 200 to 500 views. So I was already starting to feel like, okay, maybe this has run its course. The reveal didn't go that well, and that's what I was expecting, and that's kind of what I wanted. And by the end of the Antilympics, like the start of it had X amount of viewers, but by the end it was down to about 1 to 200 per video, and I appreciated that because it felt like every single person that was watching it was actively watching it and engaging in it and commenting on it and waiting for the next week. And I don't know. I think that was one of the most ambitious and fulfilling projects I've done. Having to like write and film narrative content and putting out a new video every week on like it's one thing to film a goofy, silly, gaming video, but putting out something narrative and like I put a lot of thought into like the cinematography and the lighting and the audio. I made like me and one of the people that were in it, we did all the music, like working on like learning set design. It was a lot. It was a lot of work, and going through all of that was really cool. And not a lot of people watched it, but that's fine. That's kind of what I was expecting. Hope that answers the how did the reveal go. I think
I kind of relate to what you're saying because I did a public, like I said, I was involved with the wrestling stuff for so long. I put out a weekly half-hour public access show, basically showcasing wrestling from my immediate area to kind of promote the local talent so people know who they are. Let's say they see a flyer to go to the wrestling show's happening in this town. Well, they don't know anybody because they're not WWE superstars. So the public access show was just kind of show everybody this is what this area has to offer, and neighboring promoters, this is what the talent we have is. You should book these people. Unfortunately, now we're in a situation where there's federation sprawl, kind of like, what urban sprawl is. Now, everybody and their mom has decided to open a wrestling company lately. And then there's various standards as to how much professional training people are getting to perform in the ring. And there's people out there that who think they know it all without learning much of anything, or they learned everything from watching by emulating what they see on television, which is not how it works. And can get you seriously hurt. So they find some way to, I guess, take shortcuts and grift and push present themselves as much better than they actually are until they actually get in front of a crowd, botch a move, and hurt somebody or hurt themselves severely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, COVID ruined everything. Yes. Well, I didn't stay home during COVID. I did not work from home. I hated it. I went to the office as much as possible, and I went to the arcade as much as possible. So I did everything wrong during the pandemic and didn't really get sick hardly once. Anything I did get was mild. But then again, I had warning, and then I took care of everything by nutrition. And that's really, I don't think
Sometimes
anybody.
The best offense is a good defense.
Yes. I've been exposed directly to people who had it in close quarters. They tested positive. They were like, they came down with the illness. And the day after I was with them, and they were like bedridden or something, they called me and said, hey, I got tested. I got sick last night or got sick this morning. I got a COVID test. It tested positive. And then after hearing that, I took a cocktail of vitamins multiple times a day. And I did isolate myself to an extent, but then again, I had vacation time. So I waited to see if I was going to get sick. And it took like a few days. I felt some symptoms, but it was just kind of no worse than the common cold.
Yeah. It's crazy
Mild.
how different it was for different people. Because COVID killed 4 family members of mine, but then I've had friends that had it and said like, oh yeah, it was nothing. So I think that it's a lot of it came down to genetics. A lot of it came down to, like you said, what kind of lifestyle you led beforehand. But even then I knew very active people that got very sick from it, very healthy people that got very sick. So I think it was just a gamble, just a big gamble.
And they tried to do a one-size-fits-all, which you can't do that.
Yeah.
Because people's bodies are different.
Yeah.
Blood types, reactions to things. I mean, I see a chiropractor. I go to a chiropractor above. Yeah, I know, James. Thank you. This is about what our stages of careers and how we had to get through them. So you have to put up with some of it, but I'm not going to do a political rant about it. But anyway, it's my show anyway. Don't like it? You can go somewhere else. Anyway. Yeah. It's not one size fits all. As time went on, people learned things about it that, there's a common thread between all these people who had it worse than people who had it mild. And as time went on, we found out ways to deal with it. And that's the way it should be. Science should be determining how to deal with a virus. It should not be done with politics. So,
yeah.
So I guess kind of the last, kind of to close this out, they want to know, and he wants to know this answer.
Okay. Is it new related?
He wants to know, and so do I, with the retirement of 8-Bit Brody, where are you now and what are you doing these days?
I mean, I'm still working in the YouTube sphere, just behind the scenes on some other stuff. But just because the character of 8-Bit Brody is gone doesn't mean that I will be off YouTube forever. And that's all I'm at liberty to say right now.
Video editors are in demand. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
Norbert Fail. So this is one of the Blade Wars comparators from Galloping Ghost Arcade, former champion. He said, I was not expecting you to have this show this late. Well, I've gone to 11 o'clock. I moved the time to later because daylight hours. People are not going to be in front of their computer as much. They want to be outside and doing stuff in the yard or doing recreation or who knows what. So I moved it to 9 p.m. My time. When it gets to the fall and the days start getting shorter, I'm probably going to go earlier. But he wants to see 16-bit Brody. Any chance of that?
I think he's dead. I think he's gone.
There's not going to be an upgraded Brody that comes along.
No. We did the hour-long end of 8-bit Brody. I do think that.
Well, it's the end of 8-bit Brody. Nobody said there couldn't be a 16 that rises from the ashes.
That's true. But no, even any artist looks back, and it feels pretentious to call myself an artist, but any artist looks back on the things they've created and always wants to change something, always wishes they had done something different. And there's a lot I would have done different with my channel, and there's a lot I would have done different with the types of videos, the way they were structured and everything. And I have a myriad of complaints about that last video on my channel. There's a lot that I would have done differently, but I'm glad that I had a plan from the beginning and I was able to execute that plan and end the channel on my terms. I think you do see a lot of people desperately clinging to whatever fame they used to have, and I don't ever want to do that. I never wanted to be the guy that was, in my 50s, remembering when I used to have 1 million subscribers and, get millions of views per video, and now I'm peddling like probiotics or whatever. I didn't want to be that guy.
Or paint.
Yeah.
Because I saw you wearing that one company shirt.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, no, I think what does the future hold? I think in time people will see, but for now it's all planning. And that's all I really want to say about it.
I will say this, I didn't get to exit the wrestling business on my terms. Because of immature children, and I guess everybody's bending over backwards to appease them because they're of some certain group that's considered royalty right now. But as I stated earlier, there's finally pushback against it, but it may be too little too late to help me in any way.
You want to talk about bending over backwards? Look at what your cat's doing back there. He's really going crazy.
Grooming. What he would be, what crazy for him would be just hopping in my lap and getting on the computer desk and taking over.
He doesn't like spaghetti. He's averse to doing that at the moment.
Oh, if I was having spaghetti, the cats would be kind of floating below my chair and begging. One of them would. All right. I did have one more video, but I think we're about at the end. This was the second most popular video you had, and it was a review of Doki Doki Literature Club, which, ironically, I am familiar with that game because the person I referred to that has a Colossal Compound also did this game, like a speed run on it. It is, boy, it's like a bizarre little title, and it's like the characters are like committing suicide for some bizarre reason, and then
it was interesting.
I don't know if I'd play because it started like making alterations to files on your hard drive and stuff, and you like had to delete files to advance in the game. It's like, is this a virus? Is this a Trojan? Do I want to put this type of a game on my hard drive? Yeah. So anyway,
No, it was. I thought that was a real interesting game. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it.
All right. I think you're gonna be back. Well, when do we think we? I think you already answered, but I will go ahead and ask anyway. When will we see you again? After, because I believe this is your first appearance on. Oh, looky here. I guess they're doing modifications to that game or something.
Oh yeah.
I guess this has been your first kind of public appearance since you ended the channel. Where will we see you? Where will we see? I guess where will we see you next, if anywhere?
Where I can't say, and when.
Okay.
When I guess when the seas part and the stars align. When am I coming to St. Louis again? That maybe this summer. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see how
Last
I feel.
weekend of July is Missouri Game Con. If you got more games to sell.
That's true. Who knows?
I mean, you had a vendor table that one year.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've set up as a vendor, so we'll see.
All right, Brody, I want to thank you for coming into the podcast tonight.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad I got to talk to you. And let's say I was seeing all these videos about, oh, you're wanting to make your exit or you're down in the dumps. It's like, although YouTube, I never did the monetization crap. I think it's a joke with YouTube. It's easier to do with Rumble or Odyssey. And, I don't think everybody's eggs should be in one basket, although Google wants to be the only game in town. Well, that's a bad thing, especially after what happened with their Google AI and some of the answers it put out. They're saying if you want to keep your cheese from falling off your pizza, you got to apply glue to it.
I saw that.
Are you kidding me?
Just a little bit of glue.
A little bit. Well, some of the other stuff was really bizarre. It's like, this thing's broken. Yeah, I hope it doesn't turn into a Skynet and then starts generating T-800s and that starts sending them all over the world, killing every human being on the planet because they think they can run the world better than us.
Well, get James Cameron on next week and he'll tell you all about it.
All right. I should put this up. You do have a YouTube channel, and that's still active if anybody wants to look at it. 8-Bit Brody. So you put the ampersand 8-Bit Brody as one word, and you can catch up to kind of I don't know.
Watch all of it.
Watch
the whole saga.
Check out your greatest hits, I guess. And the infamous video, although the rematch was on my channel, but
that's true, yeah.
And the podcast. Would you ever enter this contest here? Because they revived Starcade, an arcade in North Carolina, like an Airbnb. They're taking auditions.
I don't think so. I think the gaming world is come and gone in my life. And while I will always play video games, I don't think being a gaming personality is something for me anymore.
Well, I'm trying to transition fully from wrestling to gaming because I'm 52 now. There's a lot to harvest. Game Trader, watch episode 6 of that show. You'll hear me on it. I did get on there, so I got that covered. It was one of the best ones. I saved the best for last, and I cut it just like all the other promos I do. Yeah, if there's anything that rubbed off of me from the wrestling business to the gaming world, I cut wrestling promos before gaming competitions now. So, yes, after we get off, yeah, you should go see it. But Brody, thank you. I hope to see you again, maybe around the arcade soon or a gaming convention soon.
When the dust blows me in town.
Well, don't have any car trouble, I hope.
Thanks again for having me, Steven. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
All right. 8-Bit Brody, everybody. We'll hope to see you again sometime. Have a good night.
I'm losing my fingers in the spaghetti.
All right. Don't go away because I have a few things I want to cover before we get out of here. So I kind of saved this towards the back end because Brody was in the Eastern time zone, so it's like 11:20 till midnight over there. But have a bit of an update here. Now, high scores. Somebody asked, when am I going to be back to the Galloping Ghost Arcade? And I need to get back up there. I mean, I bought the year pass. I went up every few weeks, but I'm in a position right now where things are not aligned where I can go up there right now. As I've stated in a previous week, I've loaned my primary car out to somebody in need for wheels because they're going to have to get a replacement vehicle. So it's probably around Bloody Wars weekend is when I'll make it back up there. But Jim Patzer, I have to comment, is on a tear. He's taking the house highs at Lock and Chase, setting a new record there, or setting a new house high at Galloping Ghost. 75,800. He blew out the computer opponent in NFL Blitz. 55-point margin. You know, we talked about Patzer and his mishap against Norbert Bale, losing the game at the last minute in the most fluky way possible. But one other thing, the big one, Elver Action Returns. Jim Patzer took the score away from Brian Shillow, which has stood for years, and there's going to be some changes, but there's some changes in the rankings here. Jim Patzer has cracked the top 15 gamers at Galloping Ghost in power rankings, number 14. He's moving up. Shillow, who peaked at number 9 about a month or two ago, is now dropped down to 17 as a couple of his key scores got taken. But going back here, I do want to also note Arcadery in the Czech Republic a week or a week or two ago set some new world records. Mooncresta, 276,000. That's double the high score on Twin Galaxies, set by Wesker Alberto. Also, Mikhail Kellner took the world record in Viper Phase 1, 3.8 million. 2 games that Galloping Ghost does not have. Rock and Rage, and this was an all-day stream on Twitch. Somebody by the name of Lexa maxed out the score, got the maximum possible score on Rock and Rage at just under 10 million. And then another game, Galloping Ghost doesn't have this one either, and I've never heard of it. This is by a Korean company, arcade maker, released Raccoon World, and I kind of fired an eBay listing over to Doc Mac saying, hey, you might want to look at this one. This game's been getting attention recently. Well, Martin Petra set the 2.5 million on Raccoon World, so maybe that could be a T20 game. I don't know. But the chase for tokens, Andrew is just kind of inching his way up towards Andrew Wasco. So, but the great thing about what Jim Patzer did is he moved me up to 13, so I'm not at the 14th slot like I was before. I just need to get back up to Galloping Ghost and move myself up. So because of Patzer's performance, now this has changed a little bit. I have to move Patzer up a bit since he's now in the top 15. That his chances for Gamer of the Year have improved to about 10%. So we'll have to see. Patzer's got more scores to put in, so we'll see where this goes. Going back to your Arcadery, you've probably seen this sign for sale at Hobby Lobby, and you've wondered, where is this shot from? Well, first thing you need to know is this shot is reversed, and they've blurred out the marquees, I guess for copyright reasons. But where is this shot from? The Arcadery in the Czech Republic. This is how it truly looks. And you see that floor that matches and the cabinets. So yeah, if you flip this image around, it's going to match up from what you see here. So that's up in the Czech Republic. And Tracy Gleave says she wants to visit that arcade. Since she's up in the UK, she could take the tunnel into France and just travel down to the Czech Republic. So that is a destination to go if you're an arcade player. And they got some good gamers over there. Yes, Norbert, right now I say 5% because everything's so divided as to chances to win Gamer of the Year right now. With what Jim Patzer did, he's moved up. So I'm at 5% too, and a few other people are kind of in the same boat. But going over to Arcade Wars, looks like One Up Arcade is going to take Wonder Boy 3 Monsters Lair. Galvin Go set this one out because they don't have an arcade board. Underground, Retrocade, Garcade, I believe, are playing this game on one of those multi-cade PCBs. So that's how they're putting scores in. But Doc Mack is a purist, and he's going to, yeah, higher percent, yes. Galvin goes, if it's not on an actual arcade board, they're not going to have it on the arcade floor. So that's why they sat out Wonder Boy 3 this month. They only have Wonder Boy, the original one. So we'll have to see. Let's see what the game is for June. They sat out Puzzle Bobble because the monitor wasn't working. Well, the monitor's working. And by the way, Jim Patzer beat the house high at Puzzle Bobble. The problem is the camera, the battery went dead. So it depends on what the score was when the battery went dead. They're hoping that that score gets put in the database. Otherwise, he's going to redo the score. Illinois Game Con is Saturday in Bloomington Normal at the Interstate Center. And I'll be there for that again. There's going to be arcade games from the Arcadia in McLean, Illinois. They're going to be taken into the convention. There's going to be Super Smash tournaments, Mario Kart, Guitar Hero, and there's also going to be a wrestling show where the wrestlers dress up as characters from Smash Brothers. Yeah, they did that last year. So they're going to do that again this year. Missouri Game Con, of course, is going to be, I will be heading to that the last weekend of July. Have a vendor table. They're in a better venue this year. That's going to be much bigger than the venue than Orlando's was, which was tighter than the American Legion Hall in year one for that convention. So I hope to have somebody from basically who represents this convention on my podcast sometime in the future. I'll have to dig into that. And of course, Super Dragon Ball Z on June 23rd, 2024, 4 p.m. start. I've announced that I am sitting this tournament out because I've not been able to play it. And this game is not emulated. So if you want to play this game, you have to play on the actual arcade hardware or have the PlayStation 2 version. That's the only way you can play this game to practice up for this fighting game tournament. And if I can't play it, it doesn't make sense for me to enter. And besides my issues with chasing, good grief, trying to get rank back before anniversary, that's been quite the task. So who's my guest for next week? And by the way, before I announce that guest, we're going to raid a channel. I got to pick a channel to raid in a second. Yes, I know. Yeah, it's only for arcade and PS2. I got to pick a channel to raid in a second because, But the guest I'm going to have next week, he is somebody. I think a lot of people at the Galloping Ghost are pretty familiar with this gentleman. He is a technician, and he does have a wit about him. And I see him at gaming conventions all the time up in the Chicago, Milwaukee area. He has that heel persona, but he is quite. I am amused by his kind of a sarcastic humor. And the gentleman who's going to be on the podcast next week will be this guy, George Spanos, gaming's super tech. In fact, he's a technician at the Cartridge up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And with Patzer moving up, the Gamer of the Year might be taken. I took the Gamer of the Year title up to the Garcade. Jim Patzer may have it up there at the Garcade the entire calendar year come August. So we'll have to see if that comes true. But yes, George will be on the podcast next week. And I hope, it'll be a fun time. But until then, till next week, I am the Mad Conservative Crime Fighter. If you want to be a guest on the show, drop me a line, message me on Facebook, or whisper to me on Twitch, or send an email to lucasst.geo@gmail.com. But until then, we're going to raid a channel. We're going to go back to the Brotherford. He is a former coworker of mine. He is playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And I hope to see you all at the arcade soon. So we'll see you next week. And have a good night, everybody. Stay tuned for the raid.